Hey, what's going on, Charles?
Hey, good morning to you. I was going to say hello right away, but I was afraid I was getting run over by the bus.
Well, I'm not going to run you over by the bus, Charles. You don't deserve that this early in the morning. But there's other little effers around here that deserve a little bit of. They need to be reprimanded. Hey, what are you talking about? I've been good. That guy.
That guy.
Charles,
that guy again. I'm doing well. How are you? How are you?
I'm insane, but that's okay. You know,
Well,
it's legally insane. So, what are they going to do?
the first step is knowing you have the problem, and then, hey,
Seeking professional help. Yeah.
knowing the problem enough, and sometimes a little bit of crazy is okay.
Coffee.
All right, so good morning to the folks in our chat, starting off with Dave Chase and Ryan Hall, Herba Fireside Studios, Ryan of OU812, and they did another great show last night. I wish I would have caught all of it, but unfortunately, after watching Fruitcake's Tony show, I had to stop myself, go back and rewatch Spinal Tap. So that was
nice. Turned it up to 11.
Turned it up to 11. There's so many things in that I actually forgot about.
So many things. There's you can live your lives. You could build a life on Spinal Tap moments. You know what I mean? Just it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you just pull the quotes out, in random conversation. So good morning, Octopus Ears, R2, R3, Locking Nut. Appreciate you, Paul McNary, and all the cats. Because I know all the cats are lined up at the screen watching right now.
Oh, that's because they like Guitar Safari because of Sherman. The cats are specifically big fans of Sherman and Mr. P Bass Body.
Sure, yes, they want to play with them.
Yeah, they want to eat them, I think. They want to destroy their little plastic heads. Hey, did you catch the little short from Master Herb, a fireside chat with the ripping on that yellow Kramer? And dude, I was like, honey, can you wear black high heels when we go out to dinner tonight? Thank you so much. Not that there's any specific reason for it, but yeah, I'm just feeling that. So we did go out to dinner. My mom and her husband, my new stepdad, Nick, shout out to Nick, came up to see the new house and see the building. We went down to a little restaurant in town. It was cool, man.
Sounds like a good time.
Family,
Family, can't be. And speaking of family, we've got our music brother-in-law, Ryan Hall, in the chat.
Ryan Hall, y'all.
Gotta love this guy. Octopus Ears. We have all the folks out on the West Coast that are getting up early, grabbing their coffee and their weed and joining us. We really appreciate it.
That's what happens. It's California.
Our Austrian buddy, Martin from L&M Guitar Corner, he is going to be in lurk mode, but he is here with us. Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, dude, I would be lurking too if I was building such a killer. That's him that's building that studio that he's got going.
Oh, yeah, it is. I am jealous. Factor of 9.
Like the bar, dude, him and I think, need to hang out at some point because he's got the bar there. And I see that fridge. I'm like, yep, it's going to be full at some point. And then Dr. Presley can come and help you.
They don't play around. It's, it's beer in the fridge and whiskey everywhere else. And so it's just.
I can't do the whiskey, but I will help with all the beer. Mm-hmm.
But we'll just have to tag team them on those things then.
Right. I want to go over there. Austria, are you kidding me, dude? Yes.
Austria, yes. It is beautiful. When I was in Germany, I would vacation in Austria, and it is just beautiful.
Now you're just bragging because you were cultured.
Yeah,
and you have been places.
I was cultured.
No, that's awesome, dude. I wish I had been to Germany. I've never really gone over to the Europe's parts.
Because I got the opportunity to go on Uncle Sam's dime, working for him for a hitch.
Right. Well, and doing probably things that need to be done. So,
good morning to our intrepid friend Ben Coombs, who who is, I'm sure, going to be ahead and like correcting us as we go.
Dude, we need the corrections. The mango sour soda.
I felt that.
Can't do it. Has this happened to you, Charles, where a kid will come up to you somewhere between the age of, I don't know, 6 and 11, and like, hey, do you want to try this sour candy? Or they have a sour candy and you notice that you're like, oh, sour explosion. That sounds crazy. And they're like, here, try one. Don't do it. I'm just going to say, don't do it because, yeah.
They just want to see your face and you go, yeah.
Well, I wasn't designed for sour. I can do like hot. I love sweet, obviously, but I not sour. No thanks. Don't bottle it up and send it to me because I don't need it.
Yeah, so true. And of course, our friend Wayne McConnell is in the chat. Blackjack guitar.
Blackjack.
We've got River Docs.
What up, River Docs? Sean.
Todd Presley's in the chat.
Holy shimoleon. So Todd Presley went to a NoFX show, their popular punk rock band, and Todd Presley's 52 years old. And I have a picture. We should send it for next week. We'll put it up next week or when I'm more digitally and when I'm not using my phone. He got up to the front row at NoFX at age 52 and sent me a picture basically of like, I couldn't even make out what it was because it was so close, but it was like the guy playing bass. God, what's his name? He's really cool. He came into the guitar shop in San Francisco. Anyway, so at 52, still in the pit, still pushing the way to the front, still like, I think it was a Rickenbacker that dude plays, a black and white Rick through like a Ampeg stack. Like, well, yeah, that's some shit.
Here's to find out how well you know Mr. Todd Presley. Apparently, he was listening to our Spinal Tap comment, and he made a comment. And so, which quote did he pick?
Oh, what quote did Todd pick from Spinal Tap? I don't know. We knew him all so well. It's not the 11. It's going to be, the Sustain.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was this one goes to 11.
Oh, it was this one goes to 11. Okay, good. All right. But even this guitar right here. Can you hear the Sustain? Yeah. It's sustaining, dude.
Oh, there's so much in that movie. It's just crazy.
Oh, so good. Can you hear the Sustain? Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Oh, that's great.
I wish that one could have been done by River Docs because it'd be even more interesting.
No,
River Docs. Speaking of River Docs,
yeah, it's something that I don't think that it would be so hard to do another one well. Or didn't they do another one? And I just haven't seen it.
There is another one that is going to be released, I think, in March. I want to say.
Oh, it is on because if they did it right, which sometimes they get it right with these things because they're smart enough to get the right producers and whatever. If they get it right, it's going to be epic. If they get it wrong, I'm still going to watch it.
All right. So, yeah, it is something I'm looking forward to. And so Brother Trev is with us. Good morning, Symmetry. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
He has not missed one of our shows in forever. And it, again, just like you, it's an early morning for him out there. So.
It's early morning with joy.
We got Jay Santiago.
And happiness and love. And guitars and happiness and love.
Bonkers, Eddie Fay.
What up, Eddie Fay?
Janice Paula is in the chat. Vox Guitar rocks.
Vox Guitar does rocks. And we've chatted in the chat.
Absolutely love that name. So jealous. All right. So Seth, we kind of build a show here that is more in your wheelhouse than in mine.
No, it's in our wheelhouse. It's everybody's wheelhouse. It's just, what do you do to keep your axe going? Yeah,
how do you keep that favorite guitars of yours in tip-top shape, right? And so on my list, I need to give a little bit of disclosure here because it's not technically my list. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, but none of these are my lists either, dude. All my lists are regurgitated information.
And so,
you know?
but I want to give credit where credit is due. This list is my list is the train method, coming from the interview that Phil McKnight did with Ron Thorne, the master builder over at Fender. And I figured both of those dudes know a whole lot more than me. And ever since I saw that, I keep that in mind. But I also need to give credit where some other credit is due. Because when I was building Randy Crooks' Telecaster, and I was setting that up, I wasn't thinking about this. And I was talking to a friend, and a friend said, hey, let me give you the setup list that we use at San Francisco Guitar Works. And I have only set up 2 guitars for other people. You know, all the other guitar setups I've done have been mine, and they work for me, right? So how good the quality is, a fellow doesn't really know. Right, but
because it works for you, that's your standard before you've reached in and tried something that was set up to a little bit tighter spec.
Yes, exactly. And so using the checklist from San Francisco Guitar Works, I set up a Telecaster, and he picked it up the other day, last week, and he said I picked it up, it was completely in tune.
Right. So I want to give thanks and shout out to Jeff Letrell, the owner of SF Guitar Works and the person who developed that checklist and painstakingly taught me how to get it right, you know, and quality check every guitar every day and make sure they're all right. But if you want that list, it's not, you can get it a number of places. The one that McKnight has is like almost the same with a couple of discrepancies. Jeff's is available if you go to Music Nomad. He's the guy that's doing the setups on like all the guitars. Like he does a Strat, a Les Paul. There's videos that he does, and they're some of the best out there. They're a little bit more comprehensive. It'll be over your head if you're not introduced to the language, but he likes to keep it simple. So yeah, go check that out. Anyway, that's the list that I use for the set. I was doing a setup this morning while watching Tony and using it was an acoustic. Haven't done an acoustic in a long time.
And it's so funny because the last one I did was an acoustic, right? I did the Guild. That is over my other shoulder, not this shoulder, but this shoulder. But I want to go ahead and welcome in Guitar Man 45, and also, wow, I lost the other name.
Action.
Want to welcome in Guitar Man 45.
Action needs some help.
Oh, that
yeah. I know the action is what I'm
Enrico
trying to
B.
Needs some help.
Welcome, Enrico B. Good morning to you.
I'm going to bring the saddle down, I think, on this a little bit.
Okay. Well, yeah, and so I think as we work through these lists, you know, we'll kind of go back and forth, and if go ahead and folks in the chat, you know, if you want to add something in and tell us how you do it, go ahead and feel free to do that, and we'll pick up as much of that as we can as well.
Well, before we even go there, I wanted to say how I got something to add to the sheet from last week from listening to Tony earlier today. He forgot to buy screws, right? Like bridge screws or whatever it was, the screws that he needed. But I noticed on my list, I don't have pick guard screws. I've learned that when I order the neck plate, I order the neck plate screws with it. So that's not, it's just like one item, but I do need to add on here screws. Cause then if you order all that stuff and,
it's crazy because sometimes when you buy a pick guard, sometimes they come with screws and sometimes they don't. And so I've gotten in the habit of making sure I read the description and making sure it has the screws.
My pick guards don't come with screws ever. So, I mean, you must be buying higher end like Fender something, but my pick guards always come without screws.
You know, I figured the pick guard's going to be on there for a while and might as well get the best one you can. And so, you know, I tend to try to do that. But, you know, I always like to have, you know, there's always one or two extra in the package as well. But, I like to have an extra set of pickguard screws anyway, so that, as I pick up a guitar and I get it, and then when how you get the screw heads are rusted out and all that kind of thing, and you change them, change out the screws makes a big deal instead of trying to clean them up.
Send me those rusted out screws. I'll use them in my relics.
On your relics, yeah.
I have a board that I screw a bunch of little pickguard screws into a piece of wood, and then dab it with the muriatic acid.
Okay, and so we've got a question in chat from Bonkers, and he says, "What's your tolerance for dust and fingerprints on your collection? Once a year wipe down and string change?" That is funny. I try to wipe my guitars down every time I pick them up, and if I haven't picked them up, it's usually if I haven't picked it up in a month, once a month I go through and I wipe everything down. And I got into that habit just because I had been doing a lot of my work in here, right? And so everything got dust on it. And so hence moving the workshop out to the garage. And so everything gets wiped down once a month in here just because. Good question. All right, so we're about 16 minutes in. We probably should get started on our list.
I'm so sorry. Absolutely. Let's get started on the list. I'm sorry. Was my internet terrible today?
It's cutting in and out, but I wasn't sure whether it was you or me because we were having trouble here last night as well. So my internet went out.
You know what it is? It's me. It's me. And because I'm using my phone and I'm on this stupid it's not stupid when you're at work. It's a text thread at work for all the people that, need to we need to know where this kid is, right? We can't find this kid. It's in the bathroom somewhere, right? So you need to have that text thread at work. But what you don't need is to be using your phone to do a show on Monday and have somebody say, "Happy birthday, so-and-so." And then everybody on the text thread jumps in and is saying, "Happy birthday," when I'm trying to do my show, and it's all on my phone and it's screwing up my network. And you need to not do that. Don't send those work texts. I don't care if it is happy birthday. Save that shit for Monday and say happy birthday on Monday in person. I don't want a text from you saying happy birthday anyway. Come and look me in the eyes and say happy birthday. Don't send me a freaking text. And birthday's not important. Your mom did the work. You didn't do shit.
Okay, so how do you really feel about that?
I'm just saying it's messing up my network, and I'm trying to do my show with my buddy Charles and talk and see. I need to know what OU812 is doing. I need to know what Blackjack Guitar is up to, and all these people sending me the text is too much.
Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Metal Works. Ken, good morning to you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I like these more than the coffee. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I like to do in any kind of guitar setup, or the first time I'm checking out a guitar, is get it to tune, right? Go ahead, tune it up, see where it is, see what it sounds like, because it tells you a lot, right? It tells you, first of all, it tells you, is it going to stay in tune? You tune it up and you strum it a little bit. Is it going to stay in tune? Does it have tuning issues? So that makes you look at things like, makes you look at things like your tuners, are they tightened down? Are your strings dead? Right? Is it time for a new set of strings? Does it not feel right as you're playing it? And so kind of starting it off with, is it staying in tune? Are some strings staying in tune as you're fingering them, and others aren't? Right? It can tell you something about your nut. It can tell you something about the action on your saddles. Right? All those different kind of things. I think so. Within that Ron Thorne TRAIN method, you start with that tuning, and so that's where I like to start, because from there, I know if I'm going to replace the strings, I automatically know the minute I take the strings off that, everything's getting cleaned. The frets are getting polished. The fingerboard, if it's a rosewood, is getting treated. Everything's getting cleaned, right? Once
the strings are coming off, it's getting a set. It's right. Not just I don't typically just do a string change. If I'm going to change strings, those texts are going to really piss me off. If I'm changing strings, I we'll just go through the list. I'll do the measurements first. That's what I do first, Charles, is all my measurements. I measure out where I'm at, where my action is, where my relief is, and then I know, if anything's off, if my action is different than it should be, or my relief is different than it should be, then I know I'm going to make an adjustment along with the cleaning.
Eddie Faye is asking where our checklists are so that you can follow along. Unfortunately, we didn't prep those to have them ready, but I will put them in the description of the video once we finish.
Great. Or you can always email me at sethpresley@gmail.com and I'll shoot you off one. You can call me, but no one calls anybody. Don't call me during the show because I'm using the phone. Area code 323-404-3430. I don't give AF. Don't call me now if you want friends, though. All right. And don't send group texts on a Sunday for a birthday thing.
So
Not that any of our people would. Number one, for me, is kind of the same thing. It's got to be tuned to pitch before I can even look. I got to make sure it's tuned to pitch before I can look and make sure the relief is right. So tune it up, check the relief. Because the relief, it provided nothing else. The relief is probably the most thing that's probably going to change because the neck, right? Unless you have a carbon fiber neck or something. Most other settings on the guitar should stay put unless you've been traveling with the guitar or whatever. But the relief is the number. I tune it up, check the relief. Relief is good. Like you said, see if how the strings feel. Strings feel good. It's maybe wipe it down and play it because I like it clean for some reason when I play it, but I don't care when I put it away. It's weird, right? Kind of the opposite way. I don't care really so much if it's hanging on the wall with a couple spots because when I pull it down is when I wipe it off. I don't know.
Well, I think part of that is we're playing to the last minute we can, right? And so it's like I'm going to play to the last minute I can, put it up, and then run out the door fiercely about where I'm going to go because that playing time is at a premium.
Wherever you get the call.
But I know there are some people that are really good about it, and they wipe it down every time they finish, and it's always really good practice. And so relief was my second one. So just kind of to continue on with that. Yeah, it's really go ahead, check that relief, see if you have it, see if you're, or is your neck really straight, depending on how you like it, right? How much relief you like. And if you need to adjust that truss rod cover, that truss rod, like you were saying, not the cover, but the truss rod. Relief gauge.
Yeah, dude, this is like the lifesaver. This was developed by Jazzy G Jeff from SF Guitar Works. You got your electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass. Good to go.
Yep.
So you capo the first, pinch at the 12th, check at the 6th. And it says
that is definitely on my list of tools to get. I'm still using the right gauge right now, but I like having all three on that like that.
Yeah, it has like instructions on the inside. So it's pretty cool, pretty can't go wrong with that. You can get the Music Nomad toolkit that I don't know. There's a couple different levels of it.
Ben, you're right. Yeah, you can just use a set of feeler gauges, and that's what I'm currently using. But I just, for me, simple is best, right? And what I like about that Music Nomad gauge is it's just, it tells you, here's the one for the acoustic, here's the one for the electric, here's the one for the bass. And simple is easy for a guy like me.
Yeah, here's my janky set of the ones I used to use. I would have more. These are from, they're like, exactly what Ben is saying right there. Yeah, but now that I got that Music Nomad thing, it's just kind of the deal. They also make one for nut heights.
Yeah, and
so if
feeler
you're checking your
gauges,
nut height and you,
I'm so sorry. Feeler gauges is a popular thing in in going on in the chat right now. Yeah. And Vox Guitar Rocks, it is exactly the same concept. Matter of fact, you can use the same tool as long as you're using the right width. All right, so where do you go from there? You know, okay, so you've been relief and truss rod cover. What's your next stop?
I go to the fridge and I grab a beer. That's number 3. Okay, I'm ready for the next step. I think that's literally should be on my setup checklist. I mean, not like a high alcohol gonna be ripped beer, but like a 4%, kind of like a Coors Lighter kind of thing. Yeah.
And Symmetry says he just kind of eyeballs it for his relief.
Totally.
And it works.
Yeah, if you know, yeah,
he knows where he likes it, right?
Yep. Yeah, you just don't want it sitting on the fret, and you don't want a huge ass gap, and you can kind of tap your finger, and you know, within a couple of seconds of holding a guitar, I can usually feel that, all right, let's just play it, or let's put it down and put a mental note that one needs something and grab a different one to play, or if I have the time, do the adjustment right there.
Yep, definitely. So okay, your that was relief was your number 1 though, right? Because you included tuning and relief together.
Well, I'm stretching out my numbers, man. I'm trying to get 180 words as easy as I can.
Where are you going next after relief?
After
you've had your beer, yeah.
Then it's assess if I'm changing strings. Because then if like the strings are crappy, then I'm just going to go ahead and then it becomes more of a setup. But if I am changing strings and the strings come off, like you said, fretboard, frets get polished. I'll do a little thing with my fingernail and feel if I should go in there and actually do 600, 1500 steel wool, just polish them again, or if I can get away with just a quick steel wool to make them look nice. And after I'm done with that and the fretboard is good, new strings go back on and adjust the relief.
Yeah. And so, you know, from after
a couple things I left in there. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. You're
okay. So the couple things I left out, I would measure while the strings are off. I usually know the radius of my guitar, so but if I don't know, I would measure the radius while the strings are off of the fretboard and the fret. So usually they're the same, but check that way when I get the strings back on, and I can make sure the radius.
Yeah, and I
go ahead,
think
Charles. I'm so sorry.
No, with your internet cutting on out, OU812 is asking, did we skip intonation? And that's actually at where we are right now. With Seth's internet kicking in and out, we didn't hear that. So next on both of our lists is action and intonation. And so now that we've got relief taken care of, we're looking at the action of the height of our saddles and how well, you know, and the intonation of our guitar. And so when I've got one of the things that I like to do, Seth, is once I got the strings off, I like to go ahead and make sure that my bridge is all cleaned up so that when I get to intonation, it's all ready to go, right? You know, do I have any dust or dirt in there, especially where you have the saddles that are adjusted with the screw in the springs there? Make sure that's all blown out and maybe add some 3-in-1 oil on those so they don't bind us now that they're under pressure with the strings. And so
totally, I think I skipped while the strings are off. I go through and tighten every bolt, tighten all the tuning keys at the top, tighten everything. That's when the strings are off. Well, I usually do that while the oil's seeping into the board.
Yeah, what I like to do is again, if the strings come off, I will do the frets first. I will polish the frets first, then I will treat the fingerboard after, because that way I've gotten all the crap from doing the frets off it, and then treat it.
I go through first with the clean the fretboard, clean the frets, treat it, but then I always go back after I've cleaned off all the oil with my fret guard and hit each fret again individually to clean off, because that oil will put this sheen over it that doesn't sparkle. So make sure that the fretboard is oiled and then cleaned off, and then I'll go individually with my guard, and or I should step up and get the Music Nomad complete neck fret guards that are available now. But they haven't, although we're running commercials for them, but I don't get any freaking packages sent to 150 Tamalpais Drive, Fairfax, California, 94930.
Love it.
If I did happen to get a package, I could open it up.
But if you got a package, then you could open it up and you could sit there and demonstrate it and bring a few extra customers in. Yeah.
I mean, it would be fun and enlightening for the entire community. But Music Nomad shit is good because the guys are cool. It's a good company. If the people that I met are all good, I'd spend my money.
Yeah, and so I think that's within that step, within action and intonation, as a beginning person coming to guitar late in life, that used to always confuse me because I would confuse relief and action. I was like, oh, okay, am I setting action by adjusting the relief on my neck? And so that was why this train method was really important. I got it right. Okay, we're going to adjust relief on the neck with the truss rod. Then we're going to adjust the action at the bridge, right? And so at that point, at the bridge with your saddles, you're setting the radius of your saddles. You're setting the height to get your action and how your strings are, and of course, then you're setting your intonation there as well. And
it's easy. I use an action gauge to set my outer high and low E, 60-50. That's kind of what I like to do. And then I use my radius gauge balanced off of those two strings to hit the radius of what my fret or fretboard is, match that from those two E's. So once you do that, that's when it really kind of fits in the pocket. And if you have a compound radius, you can kind of split the difference, or you can balance it on either side of the flatter side. If you're playing more lead, you can mess around with it. You can go a little bit more towards the radius end if you're doing more chording. See what works for you.
All right. Well, great. Well, welcome. I want to go ahead and say welcome to Cushman NYC and who else did I see? Quentin James, Morning Pops, and Music
Rico
Therapy
B.
Lab.
Okay.
Good morning to you.
What up, Music Therapy Labs in the house? Finally cooled off around here, and they're not cooking too bad out there in Livermore. It was pretty hot last week, but not bad this week.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, and so but I like that. I really like that understanding of that. The fact that your relief is your truss rod and your action is your saddles, right? And so for a new person, for someone that's been around for a while, that's no brainer, right? But for a guy that's new to it, that was key to me. And but like I said, every time I do a restring, I really go ahead and make sure I clean up that bridge so that as I have to go make changes to intonation, that it's not going to bind, right? Especially if you've got a bridge that isn't the best quality.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I've set up this acoustic guitar today, and once somebody had adjusted the action by using the truss rod numerous times, so they had cranked the truss rod way too tight to where the neck's almost bowed to bring the action down. So when you get the neck to the proper relief, now the action's like a mile high. Now I'm looking at the saddle and wondering if I can how far I can bring it down. I think I can bring it down to where it'll be, good and playable and fun. But that's what, and then maybe I'll crank a little bit of more relief out of it. If it was almost playable with like zero relief, I can probably, it'll probably be okay with 5 thou.
But looking at Yeah, looking at the chat, looks like Laz is probably not going to have a show this morning. He is out doing some things, going to an event. So if we happen to spill over a little bit, that's not a problem. Thank you, Laz. Appreciate it.
Thanks for giving us the heads up, Duder. Yeah, it's hard sometimes to do it every single week, but usually running up an hour is about the attention span, right? About an hour is about right.
Yeah, it probably it is for us. But, I think it works well for the show that we do. An hour is like the perfect amount of time.
I go more than an hour.
And Ben Combs is saying once you set your once your action is set, you should never have to be done again, unless you really
unless
change
you're traveling on. If you're on tour and your guitar is getting shook, the saddles can take a ride, and and then unless you lock tight each little screw. So that's the life of a road tech, is like going over and making sure everything is reset each day or each 2 days, whatever. So but yes, I agree, like saddles don't just magically change on their own. So if your action is drastic, pick up your proper neck, which lucky for me, like I don't have a lot of wandering necks. They're all pretty stable.
So there is a comment from Blackjack Guitar in chat, and I'm going to read it and just let you address it. And it says, Seth, whatever you want your string action to be, take off twice the amount from the saddle for acoustics.
Yes, that's the equation that you're saying for the reduction of the saddle height. Right, when you're cutting the saddle. Yes, I get it. Yeah, I know the equation. It's taught by the master. Although thank you for reminding me, because it's been so damn long since I did it. I think I was going to text my buddy Ross to like, hey man, make sure I want to get this math right, because it's been so long. But it's in thousandths of an inch. Am I right? You'd measure if I've got 90. 80 and I want 80/70, I'm gonna have to cut if I got a 10 thou difference, I'm gonna have to cut 5 thou off of the saddle. Am I right or am I wrong? Please correct me, or I'm gonna have to text Ross, which Ross might not get back to me for 2 days.
Oh, and while we wait on that,
I think it's 5 thou. I think it's half the amount.
While we wait on that, we've got Gear Junkie 35 joining us in the chat, and he says, today's random pedal suggestion, plug in octave pedal into the first end of the Digitech Grunge. It sounds much, much better.
Oh, I don't have an octafier or a grunger, but it sounds cool. Shoot me a video. Let me see what that shit looks like.
And our buddy Steven Monch Maselli is saying 0.020 from the saddle to move 0.010 at the 12th fret. Okay,
0.020 at the saddle to move 0.1 at the to move 0.1 at the 12. To move not 0.1, to move 1 thou. So it's 0.2 for every 1 thou. So if that's what I said, right? So if I wanted to move, if I wanted to move 10 thou from 90 to 80, and I'm cutting 5, that's the correct.
Yep. And Blackjack Guitar also says I had not. Yeah. It's weird how chat comments come in, because it wasn't there, but now it's above. Stephen Blackjack is saying yes, 64th of an inch is right. Seth, you are right.
Okay. I'm terrible. Now we're talking 64th of an inch. I can't even get into that system. I got to go thousands because it's numbers.
But he's telling you are completely on the right track. So yes. All right. So where are we going from there?
This year. I told you. We're going back. I got to do my algebra homework. Can you guys help me with my algebra homework?
All right. So I
actually don't have homework because I'm a teacher.
And this is the point I think where both of us are kind of looking at the same thing, right? Here's the point where I'm kind of looking at, according to the train method, I'm looking at the nut and I'm playing the guitar to see, is it playing the way I want, right? So if I've done all the other stuff and it's not staying in tune, I need to look at my nut. And so if I've got my action set where I want and I'm a little bit out of tune, okay, again, look at your nut slots. Are the nut slots filed correctly? Do they maybe need some lubrication, some graphite, or some nut sauce, or whatever you may use in there? I really prefer just going with the pencil and putting the graphite in there. And
you should not in any way be able to hear your strings going through the nut. That's not a thing. If you're tuning and you hear creak, you hear ping, you hear anything, that needs to be addressed, right? So it should be super smooth through those nut slots, right? They almost do. It's very light on the break angle, right? You want it to be a very subtle break angle off the back, which you need, but it's almost a straight pull through the nut, almost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is straight,
but that, that's where I am next on mine, right? I'm looking at, okay, I've done all the other things. Is it, am I getting the ping? Am I, is it, can I feel like, is there any mining? Is something not coming back, right? Our strings not coming back into tune, especially if you've got a wiggle stick, right?
Absolutely. If we're talking about fixing a problem is, different than usually the problems are addressed earlier on in the first couple of setups or whatever. Once you've had a guitar a little while and you're just maintaining it, hopefully you're not having to go back and readdress the nut issue. But the nut should be done on almost any guitar that's coming from the factory, because they're just not done to a really tight spec. And you can get better action and better playability and less, that little tiny bit of intonation that comes off, but get a little bit sharp on the first couple of frets because of the nut height not being perfect. It pulls down too much. So, you work those out and then you're pretty much good to go. I'm just looking around a couple of guitars here that just kind of need restrings and maybe a little bit of a truss rod crank. So that kind of setup to where, just a quickie, not the whole deal. I'm not cutting the nut again and everything, but.
And the chat is chiming in on the nut thing. We've got Octopus Ears is saying 3-in-1 is cheap and effective, and Launch is saying graphite powder too works really well. Ben, I love you for this. Ben uses Marvel Mystery Oil. Don't know what's in it. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Oh,
like Bush's baked beans.
Yeah, Blackjack Guitar is continuing his conversation with you, and he's saying 564s equals 2.00 millimeters, Seth.
2 millimeters? Oh, now all right. We're talking 0.2 at the saddle for every one at the 12th. Right, Steve? 0.2 at the saddle for every one at the 12th. I think I can deal with that. And I'm, whatever. I've made so many saddles, dude, that if I blew a saddle, I'd make a new one in 5 minutes and I'd be compensated and look way better than that saddle in there. I love making them. It's cool. You get into it, you cut it, and you compensate it. I like making those. So, dude, hey, I didn't even tell you, bro. I found out that we got 3D printers at school with all kinds of cool stuff that I have access to for teaching about guitars, right? I can make custom string trees. I can make custom knobs. So it's on. We're going to be one volume, one tone, dude. But first thing I got to learn is how to work the computer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not easy. Because you actually have to design it. I always just wanted to go pick it up. and it was done. But you have to design it, and it has to be the right size and all that. So
I'm sorry.
But we have a scanner, so I can.
I apologize.
Okay. We have a scanner.
Ben's comment.
Oh, I'll bring in some knobs, and we can scan them, and they can replicate that shape, and we can make it a little bit different. It's like cool stuff.
Excellent. So Octopus Ears is informing us his Carvin has Graphtec nut and saddles. It never goes out of tune.
Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah. So Carvin is a good way to go. But he's saying here's the funny thing. He was in the pregame on the show, and he was talking about his Carvin. It plays so well. It needs some maintenance, but it's playing so well he doesn't want to stop and do it.
That's actually a really, really good point, because it's like sometimes I would tell people that would come in, only bring me your guitar if it frustrates you. Don't bring me your guitar because you love it so much and you have a good idea. Because no, not. You love your guitar this much. Your idea is not good. Leave your guitar alone if you love it. It doesn't want whatever you think you're going to try to do to it. Trust me. So sometimes it does, but
and so the next on your list is I believe cleaning the electronics. Right? Is
this number 5? Because I might need to go get another beer.
Well, we'll go get another beer, and that'll be 4.
I'm just saying on
5.
Yes, no, that's where we were at.
Yeah.
Just check the intonation. I think is like almost the last thing, and then it's play or polish it up, clean it up, use the spritzy spritz, and
Yeah, I mean, do all kind of check all those knobs. Are they are the pots making any noise? And if so, it's time for some Deoxit, and make sure you don't have anything on your pickups, right? On your pickup holes. Did you get something on the pickup holes? And so maybe we've got some metal on there that, if you didn't properly cover your frets when you were doing them, or whatever the case may be there. And then your last thing on your list was really making sure your strings were tight and tightening all your hardware, where you take your once around and you went and tightened all your screws and made sure everything was sound the way it should be.
I might have been off when I wrote that last night on my sequence, because I usually do that when strings are off, because I have this little thing that I'll do that goes around the top of instead of using a wrench, that goes around the top of the tuning key, and it works for it. And so I usually do all the screws. Like when I do that, I just go and do them all, tighten the strap buttons, and make sure that the knobs aren't janky, because that's a thing. Like if you bring your guitar into a store for some maintenance and you didn't really request your knob, but you knew your knob was kind of loose and messed up, and you got whatever else done, and then when you get your guitar back, your knob is also correct. That's the kind of place that I want to be. Like if I want to do that little extra thing because it's already here and I'm the guy.
You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Octopus Ears. Go crazy with the electronics on a guitar. Don't go crazy with a drill on your guitar.
Yes.
Okay, and
drill press mistakes.
Yeah, of course. Oh God.
I pressed some ferrules. I pressed some ferrules into a neck that the headstock had been painted on, but hadn't had enough time to cure, and it was kind of messed up and a little bit messed up, because I was asked to press the
Well, again, your internet was breaking up there, but that gives us an opportunity to address a couple things in the chat, Seth. Folks are loving that purple sparkle. R3 locking nut he said he was lurking and listening while trying to learn a song, but that purple got his attention. And someone else was asking, had said something about the sparkle, and they were asking what paint you used for it, but you might want to tell them where you got the body, because part of your secret.
I order the bodies. Yeah, man. I'm not trying to paint purple sparkle. I order it from Guitar Fetch. Go check them out. You might have, so if you order what you get, you might have to send back to make sure it's good quality. But hit and miss. They're really good quality, dude. This is on $115.
Yeah, and if you're getting guitar bodies and necks from Fetish, you really want to go with that XGP set. It's their
don't go with the Lido or what. Yeah, even their top of the line is shaky at best, but it's good. I mean, but it's the way that you can build a guitar and keep your parts under $500 or $600, and you can invest a lot of time to make everything work really well, and still give a fantastic product, which is what people want, like a guitar that plays well for under. Everybody else out there is minimum $2,000 on a luthier build, and that's I'm not doing that. I'm doing around $1,000.
Cheers, River Docs. He's on his way out. And
so sorry about the shitty internet.
It happens, we get those things. We just roll and deal with them.
Stupid birthday texts. And I like the dude it's his birthday, and I feel that he deserves direct human communication. As opposed, and if it's truly my birthday, don't freaking text me at 9 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday. Leave me alone. It's my birthday.
There you go. Why wake me up?
Yeah, he might be enjoying his birthday morning. Who knows what he's up to?
Yeah, could be. So in the chat, okay, so what did we leave out? What are the things that you do that we didn't talk about?
Oh, the last part on my list is I go and I get a congratulatory beer because I have finished off. Yeah, so now I'm on like beer 3 for the setup. So yes, perfect. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I don't actually go through that many beers during a setup. Just depends. If I have to hydrate, though, if it's a hot day and I'm out of water, it happens. I'm just have to drink beers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you got going for the rest of the?
Well, I'm sorry. Blackjack is saying it was like he said it's like Seth is in space. With the interruptions.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Yep. Well, Fairfax, California is kind of like space. It's kind of hippie town, and people are kind of spacey up here. But it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It was the damn birthday text thing because I got a. Like I said, we actually, everybody knows we're working on. Next week, I should be on normal computer zone. I'm going to set up StreamYard. It's a required thing. So you have to get that to be able to do this.
You're going to love this. Ryan Hall says his sister lives across the road from him, and she mails him a birthday card.
Nice.
And of course, Bonkers is reminding us, hey, go ahead and polish those string trees. That way you don't get any, kind of catching on them, I guess.
Okay. I have lubed like a little dibby dab on the string tree, but I've never polished.
Okay, Seth, you've got some experience with this. Jay Santiago is asking around what should he expect to pay someone to change strings on his 12-string acoustic?
$40 plus strings. 35, $40 plus strings. And that's not just to change the strings. If the string, like we've said in this, is the strings are off, clean the frets, oil the fretboard. 12-string guitar should be about, pay 30. If you're cheap, maybe $30 plus strings, but I'd say 35, $40 for a string change on a 12-string. Because it's two, it's the same as doing 2 6-string guitars. So if you're doing, even if you're inexpensive, $25 is inexpensive for a string change. 25 plus strings.
Excellent. And R2 R3 Locking Nut is thanking you because he's got to get some beers for the show this afternoon, so he appreciates that reminder, Seth.
What's the show? R2 R3 Locking Nut, and what time?
OU812 show at 4 p.m. Central. Yeah.
So is that right before Ben? Like 1 hour up to Ben?
Well, 4 p.m. Central is Ben goes on at 7 Central. So.
Okay. So there's a good gap. Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah,
so like 3 p.m. my time. 2 or 3 p.m. my time. Okay, I'll check it out.
OU812 is going to be an absolutely wonderful show. It's from the practice they were doing last night. You're going to love it. Just saying. And that is Ryan. That is R2 R3 Locking Nut. That is John DeShane at Symmetry.
Nice. Okay. Killer. I need to get once I get the computer going, I need to get the thing that I can plug in, like the interface, so that we can listen to some tones direct in while we're chatting.
Okay. And some good information here from our Canadian friends. John DeShane is saying in Canuckland, Canada, that 12-string change is going to cost you $65. So.
See?
Just look it up.
Yeah. Well, the Canadian dollar, right? It's
And Octopus Ears reminds us that he always puts some string cleaner on before he plays in after a restring, keeps the strings from corroding. He says.
Oh yeah, like string ease is a thing that people put on. They spray the string ease, and it's like a lubricant and continues to, but you can really save your strings by just wiping them off, which I don't do. And yeah, exactly. It's just, I got a guitar over here with just mainly the G string, is crusty and it's the one that turquoise Telecast, the Les Paul Telecaster that I've been playing a lot. It needs a string change just because they're dirty. Also, don't think that you can change your strings and put on your favorite and put it in the case and put it away and come back and get it in 3 months, and those strings, just because they were new when you put them on the guitar, that it's all going to be perfect. If you want to do that, you should use coated strings on those guitars, because if you put your guitar away for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months with a new set of regular strings, you're going to break it out, and then they're still going to be corroded just because of time and air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Vox Guitar Rocks has an interesting question in the chat. He says, what's everyone paying for strings, right? And, I guess it all really depends on what the set you get, right?
Yeah, I paid $21 for a set of freaking coated Diodario. They're right here. It blew oh my God, dude. I was like upset. These are right here. Because I used to, at the guitar store, I never had to pay that much.
Yeah, I paid cost. Yeah, I just paid $19 for those for the guild. Yeah,
$21. Holy hell!
But if you go with their regular XL set is like what, $6, $7? Well, it's not like $7, $8, right?
Yeah, but this woman is not going to change her strings. These strings had been on there forever, and also the it's a Ibanez, like a Gibson style peg head, and the high end strings were wrapped the wrong way around the pegs. Oh God, you gotta love that. So anyway, Who knows when those strings were put on? They were put on incorrectly a long time ago. So
And Bonkers has given us some information. He says in Los Angeles, it's $25 for a string change and $65 to $99 for a full setup. Ouch.
Yeah, no, it's 110. SF guitar might have gone up, might be 115, 120. SF guitar works for a setup. Then strings, I think he only charges pretty much cost on. He doesn't upcharge on the strings, which is cool. He'll run you another $15 or something, and then if you need a plec, you're looking at $320 for a plec. So you're $450 out the door to get your guitar really back in action.
Well, good morning, Terry 3Gs. And Terry has come in like a champ asking, did someone mention petting and caressing your instrument to keep it in tip-top shape?
Absolutely.
Of course. That is the final step. That's step number 6.
Step number 6. No, I mean, I think it's pretty basic, right? We made it through, and everybody already has a handle on this, but it just gives us that direction to chat about guitar basics as we make our way through the hour, talking about just the stuff that we like to talk about. Fun stuff. I'm still waiting for decals, these headstock decals, so I can continue building this purple guy. Yeah.
Well, yours have to
waiting for parts. It showed up on my. It showed up on my tracking as delivered yesterday. So it's not delivered. I looked everywhere, and it's not anywhere where it could be delivered. So now that's a whole thing, right? Now you reach out to the company in England, and because of the time, it takes forever to. Anyway, I'll deal with it, and we'll get this guitar built at some point. But God damn it!
Well, Octopus here's got a set of Dunlop strings for $6 a pack, and John Jussain says that the NYXLs were $14 in Canada. And Jay Santiago says he pays $6 for the Ernie Ball Slinkies. And Dave Chase is saying
those are good prices.
Yeah. And Bonkers is saying he puts expensive coated strings on Floyd Rose only. Floyd Rose guitars only.
So you don't have to mess with it that often. That's yes, it makes sense. Yeah, put the long life ones on the ones that either you're not touching all the time or are going to be a pain in the ass to do the restring. Like if you're doing the 12-string acoustic, maybe do the coated string so you don't have to change them.
Yeah. And Bonkers is reminding us that guitars put strings on sale once a year, $38 for a 10-back of Guitario XLs.
$38, so $380 per pack. That's really effing good.
No, you can't beat that. And Ben Combs is reminding everybody to go ahead and hit the like button if you've enjoyed the show. And of course, Fox Guitar.
If you want me to get better internet, hit like.
Of course. Always a good way. Fox Guitar Rocks is saying he's paying $9 for the Ernie Ball Slinkies. For him, that's the 9s and the 10 or the 10s. Yeah.
Totally. That's a good price too. $9. I'll do it. $21. I was like, hell damn.
So you started asking me earlier what I've got going the rest of the week, but I'm going to turn that around and ask you first. What do you got going the rest of the week in your shop?
Waiting for the headstock decal, but I did just yesterday do a trip to my old store in Sausalito and grab like my drill press and some other odds and ends that are going to need to be set up in here to be able to to do my thing. So I'm going to set up that today. Got laundry. I got laundry to do. And I'm going to get ready for algebra next week.
Oh boy.
Algebra.
Well,
yeah.
I've
actually algebra tomorrow.
Algebra tomorrow. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My week looks like I have a Strat that I'm doing a biker theme on. Skeleton biker theme.
Nice.
And that I am trying to get out the door here relatively quickly, hopefully finishing this week. And so I am just about ready to spray clear. I'm just doing my final bits of touch up and sanding rough, finding the rough spots and sanding them down so that they don't come through the, you don't feel them through the clear. And so I may be clear later today, which would be really nice. And
wow. You doing a video on it or what?
Yeah, that whole series is getting videoed, but it won't come out until after the person that is actually getting that guitar receives it. So I'm doing it for a friend. It is building a guitar for a friend, and so he's got, once I give him the body, then he's got to go build the rest of the guitar, and then once he gives it to his buddy, then I can release that set of videos. But we're also going to be hopefully today in the garage we'll actually get the Warlock. We'll get the rest of the fabric on the Warlock and in the angles, so we'll probably have a video about that coming out sometime this week.
Okay,
and so,
nice.
Yeah,
the angle of the dangle. Well, I did the unboxing video of this purple deal, and as soon as I get the headstock decal, I can kind of proceed. But I might proceed doing some installation of the electronics, get the pickups and the pick guard, get the pots in there, and get stuff going. But as soon as if those decals arrive today, I'm like in building mode. I like to do stuff in sequence. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm ready to get going again. It's been a while. I haven't built a guitar in like, I don't know, a month. So I'm itching. Oh, you know what I am going to do though? I have these parts from the graveyard that I'm going to slam together a guitar for a kid, for a friend. It's going to be badass. I already know I have a neck that was plecked and all that, but I'm just going to put it together and to give it to him to play, to see if he likes guitar.
Excellent. Sounds like a great plan.
So, yeah.
A little bit in the chat to catch up on before we go ahead and round out our show for today. We appreciate everybody coming in. So Octopus Ear says, we have inspired him to clean his fretboard today. He needs to do it. Excellent. You're going to take care of that, especially on that fine carving, right?
Get in there.
Maybe look good. Monch is saying $8 for 6 strings at $15 and $15 for 12 strings is what he's paying for strings right now. Ben Kum says he just ordered a 10-pack of D'Addario XS strings, over $200 with tax. So that's wow. But those are those
$20 a pack.
So yeah. So that's,
see, I can't do it.
I can't either, but it's,
I mean, they're great strings, but he's probably doing setups for friends and people, and he has to charge. So I get it.
Yeah, probably has to have those on hand. Bonker says, I also do the expensive $30 strings on his bass. Same thing, those bass players, once they don't like to replace those strings, right? They're expensive. So go ahead and get the expensive ones, and they'll last longer is the idea, I suppose. Apparently, Janice is having trouble keeping her Bluetooth.
Bella flatlands.
Oh, yeah?
That's what anyway, I've had tons of issues this morning with everything digitally related, especially texts for people's birthday on Sunday morning. Don't do it.
So Gear Junkie 35, $22 for a 10-pack of Musician's Friend strings. Not bad for the money. Last a while with very few weak strings. Worth it for sure. Let's see. Cushman NYC is saying, I love the show. Thank you very much, kind sir. Appreciate it. Jave Chase is out of here. He said, thanks for a great show. Appreciate it.
All right. Ben looks like I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Ben Combs is going to do a string change and setup after this. So have fun. Everyone, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming and watching the show. We look forward to seeing you next week Have an awesome week. Make sure you check out OU812 at 4 p.m. Central. They're going to have a great show. All right. So with that, let's